The US President Joe Biden live from the Oval Office, and you'd have to say that was a thank you and a goodbye from President Joe Biden, and you'd have to also say that that was 13 minutes that he struggled to get through, even with auto cue. Joe Biden there saying that he is stepping aside essentially because he's a believer in democracy. He wants to stop the division and he wants to hand over to a new generation. I want to bring in Annalise Nielsen now, Paul Murray, Trudy McIntosh. Annalise, first to you. He did struggle to get to it. It was as if to confirm that this was a decision he made to stand aside that should have been made months ago. He appeared more frail. He appeared to struggle through that at times. And look, frankly, it looks like that his team has had to put a lot of makeup on him just to seem like he's got a bit of bounce back.
Yeah, look, it had all the hallmarks of a resignation speech without the resignation, and it seemed like he was more resigned to his fate but not going anywhere, which I think is probably where we are now. He said he's going to be there for another 6 months, and I don't disagree with you at all. That really sounded like he was struggling to get through that, and at a few moments I simply couldn't understand what he was saying. And this is not in isolation. I say this again because we've been saying it for the last few years. This is not a bad day. He has a stutter. We forgive the stutter. We all misspeak sometimes, but this has been a consistent pattern of behaviour for a long time. And I don't think anyone's going to be looking at that with much confidence. And then the flip side of that is, and what we're hearing a lot from especially Republicans on Capitol Hill, is they're saying our adversaries are watching this. And this looks like a weak moment for America right now. It looks like a vulnerable moment. And that's going to be the discussion over the next few months, depending on how much we see him. He might really just go back to not doing much media. Why does he have to if he's not running again? We might just start seeing a lot more of Kamala.
Yeah, I think we will be. And after that performance, you take your mind back to the debate, the subsequent interviews that were meant to alleviate any concerns. That did nothing. And I think even this performance today, Paul, he looked even more frail than he did a couple of weeks ago. Yes, he has had COVID. He's just come out of isolation. We saw him quite unsteady on his feet as he arrived back at the White House yesterday. But this is not going to help him in any way in terms of his political opponents saying, well, if it's not right for you to run for a second term, how can you be okay to run even for this next 6 months till January?
He was a weak, diminished and pathetic figure. We understand what has been happening, and we understand that emotionally for anyone to give up a dream job is a difficult thing to do. You saw in what he said that I deserve a second term. However, I've decided to unite my party, and therefore to unite my party, that's all he says. He doesn't say I'm therefore getting out of the way. Instead, it's the pass the torch stuff. But that was a white-knuckle ride. Is he going to finish the sentence? Is he going to finish the word? And I don't say that as hyperbole about a person who, if I had a vote, would never have voted for him. That was frightening to watch. That is the President of the United States who still has all the power of the presidency until January 20 of next year. Now, I know there's political consequences if Harris becomes the president and running against the city president, blah, blah, blah. But he also turned around and said that what he wanted to do in the next 6 months was to have Supreme Court reform. Now, that is something that is like one of the tippy top of the Democratic left shopping lists. Yeah. He's not going to be able to advocate for that or to fight for that. So what you saw was the battle between the ego of the man, the desperation of the people around him, the lie that we have been told increasingly as his health has deteriorated, and an inability to match the moment. This was frightening.